Hey, so here's an update on the property here. So I redid the driveway and had, was it 19 tons of gravel dumped, and ended up making an extension here. So the extension, the driveway used to come up like this, then end when I made it's easier to park the vehicles, and now I can park them like this instead of having them face this way. Makes it easier to turn around. It's like a turnaround spot basically. So it's New Brunswick in the fall, and it is pretty much always wet. And it just finished raining here. So I ended up making a nice garden in here. So this garden's like 50 feet, 60 feet by 30 feet across. It's pretty good. The soil quality here is really really good. Ended up using a rototiller on it. I'll show you the implement that I got there for the tractor, and did a really good job. Cut the field. The field's nice and short. Then I overseeded it for next spring. Ended up buying a whole shit ton of Jerry's for gas and diesel. So how many do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is that? 7. 7 20 liters, and then 5. This one here is 20 liters as well, just short. So 100 liters of diesel, and then 150 liters of gas. And the generator works on gas. So the diesel is for the tractor, and then the generator is gas. So this is the tractor here. Funny story is that this isn't actually my tractor. It's the dealer's. Mine's actually bigger. So the way it goes with John Deere's is a 1 series, which is like a glorified long tractor, a 2 series, which is this thing, a 3 series is the one that I bought, and then the 4 series is like the full-on ag, like farming tractor. So I got a 3. So the 2 series weighs 2,000 pounds, and the 3 series weighs 3,000, and the 4, you guessed it, weighs 4,000 pounds. So why do I have a 2 series and when I paid for a 3 series? Oh, good question, I'll tell you. So when I bought the tractor, it came without a loader because they didn't have one in stock. A loader being the front end loader here. So they delivered the tractor for me so I could cut the lawn, do the garden, all the implements that run off the back PTO. So I get the property up to snuff. And then when the loader came in on delivery, they picked the tractor back up from me and went to go install the loader, and it didn't fucking fit. So they had to reorder a bunch of parts. So I said, listen, I'm not paying for a tractor to not have one, so you got to figure something out for me here. And so they said, well, they have a 2 series that I can borrow until the 3 series comes back up. And I said, yeah, that works for me. Send it. So they delivered the 2 series to me with the front end loader. And I'm totally cool with this because I put about 25 hours on this machine and about 0 maintenance. I'm going to give it back to them. Pretty much dirty, scraped up, and no maintenance done on it. And that just saves the wear and tear. Like the biggest things that we've done so far is the field, obviously. Then I'll show you there's like a compartment in the back, or like where I made and leveled off like a nice little area for fires. So I've done a lot of wear and tear, and I'd rather use the loaner than keep mine unused. Anyways, there's that. So take you to the barn. So that's the scrap cut off pile here, and just all the wood that I had left that I pretty much wanted to keep from the cutoff pile. Here's a set of forks. They're like pallet forks, and you can take the bucket off and then put these on. I find these are really handy for lifting up logs and stuff. to cut them, to process it into firewood. So you can like just go underneath and pick up the log and then chop it with a chainsaw. There's my splitting log. This is the wood pile for the fence. These are all 1x6x16s. That's the boards for the fence. I got them covered up. And this is the barn finished as it sits. So we got all the board and batten done on it. Then the inside of the stalls here are done. Looks nice. So that is an overseeder. I got that for throwing down fertilizer and then actually salt in the winter as well. That's that big toe behind lawnmower. Basically, it's called a brush cutter. This is what I've been working on for firewood. I got this here is kind of like just a small tractor I use for firewood and pulling the kids in for tractor rides. This is kind of the small stuff that I chopped up, and this is the bigger stuff that's waiting to get turned into firewood. And I put this stuff in the barn, so I don't have any horses this year, so I might as well keep the implements dry. So this is the rototiller here. It's like 6.5 feet wide. It's quite the unit. That's a 1 furrow plow, and I use that actually to turn the dirt over before I rototilled it. And then here is a post hole digger. And then I got a rear scraping blade, like a landscaping blade, and that's actually on the back of the tractor right now. You can't see it, but it's there. So this roof was a pain in the fucking ass. Pardon my French, but I'd rather shoot myself in the face than do this again, to be honest. It was a sumbitch. So these are, what are they? 2x6s that hold up 3/4 inch OSB. And I have them connected on the middle on this middle rung here. So that's supported, and it's supported by these 4x4 posts here. There's a whole bunch of them, and they all come up, and they're held on by these hurricane straps to keep them from getting peeled off in the winter or the weather. And there's one on each side, so when they butt together like this, there's one on this side and one on that side. And then where they connect over here, there's the extension there. They each have their hurricane straps as well. And I got that like roof extension that peels off. So I can't believe I actually fucking built this by hand, but I did it. It's not bad, to be honest. So these are 2x6s that I've got 2 of them laminated together on top of 4x4 posts, and then I got a 2x4 sitting this way, and then 2 2x6s this way. And I can get away with using 2 2x6s because these posts are closer together. There's one like every 8 feet, or I had to use 2x12s here because you've got those big 10-foot gaps here. So I think it's 12-foot gaps actually, 12 or 10, I can't remember. So there's less support, so you got to use more wood basically, and I could use less wood over here because there's more support. I even put in a window. So I've got the door. The only thing I got left to do is there's a door that's going to go right here. It's going to be a split door, one on the top, one on the bottom. And then when I get the horses, to separate the horses from the feed room, I'm going to have bars that come up, kind of like jailhouse bars. Gonna come here and then over here, so they can't stick their heads in. And that's the chainsaw I got today. I think I paid $700 for it. Man, quite the unit. Holy shit. So it's 60 cc's with a 24-inch bar. Cut through cedar. No, this is pine. I cut through pine. Like, it's probably 16 inches wide, 18 inches wide. Man, it just right through that. My other chainsaw on the tractor shed is only like a 24cc with a 14-inch bar. So with stuff this big, I wouldn't even be able to cut it all the way through. I gotta cut it this way and then come around. Oh, it was a pain in the ass. Plus it was underpowered and it would take me forever. I cut this whole goddamn tree. This is 2 trees here. I cut it all up in like 10 minutes with that new saw. Only 2 tanks of gas because I didn't have to run it as long. To sit there and with this smaller chainsaw, that thing just right through it, and it uses like 3 times as less fuel than the smaller one because you're not running it as long, which is kind of counterintuitive, but there you have it. So I cheaped out on the roof. I kind of did and I kind of didn't. So it's a felt roof. That's like the newest craze on being cheap. They used to have tin roofs where the back in the 80s, they were the cheap ones, but the price of metal's gone up and tin's no longer cheap as it used to be. So it's like asphalt impregnated felt. So I did liquid tar on the first, a layer of liquid tar to seal the wood, and then this asphalt felt on top, and then nail it all in. Right, poke 100 holes in it with, I think it's like 1,500 staples to hold this down, and then another layer of tar on top of that to seal the holes you poked in it on it. And I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look the greatest, but it's just a fucking barn, and it's cheap. I got that whole roof done for like $300 in material. It's pretty much a 55-gallon drum of tar. And if you look here on the front joists, they're pretty straight. They haven't fallen over yet. We'll see in the wintertime whether it falls over. The backside here, I really like this board and batten. I think I showed you on the last video the way it was supposed to go, and then this is it along the back here. Buddy, does it ever look good? Yeah, looks great. It's all done. There you go. So I'll show you, I'll walk you down here to kind of like where I've been playing with the tractor. Just basically beating the shit out of it because it's not mine. Whatever. So I found this trail and I didn't know it existed, and I was actually poking around with the tractor trying to dump a load of branches, you know, like the cutoff branches from logs after I was doing firewood. I was like, well, I gotta just hide these in the woods and so I don't have to deal with it. And then I've been leveling this off because it was all really bad. And this is an old trail from like 80 years ago when they first developed this place. So I kind of been make a little runway in here. And I didn't really clear any of it. There's kind of like little saplings and stuff growing. And I cleared it all out. And it's kind of like a trail. I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. So, yeah, man, this is great. Because Nina was asking me, hey, make me a walking trail. So I was thinking, oh my God. Because I was remembering that time that you and me did that with Janet and how much goddamn work that was. And I was like, oh shit. And then I came back here and I'll be damned, it's done for me. I was really excited about that. So I came back here with the tractor and I had just kind of been leveling off this one area, and I made like a little fire pit. So it's, oh man, so sweet. So I cleared this area here. You can kind of see where I've been pushing stuff back with the tractor, and scraped all the roots and stuff, and I made this here. I just cut these logs off. So this is a big honking tree here. I think we counted the rings that it was like 85 years old, so we cut that down. I kind of feel bad and I kind of don't. I just cut like V-notches in these guys and stuffed the logs on top of them and cut a little so it's flat so you can sit your butt down on them. And we've just been stacking old dead wood so we can put it in the old fire pit. We were having one yesterday. Nina put these here because she wanted to cut them up with a chainsaw. But yeah, man, this is great. And it's on my property too, which is just killer. Deer come through here all the time, so I'll probably get one during hunting season too. Anyways, that's basically the progress I've made. Some would call it a lot of progress, some would call it not enough, but I call it is what it is. Working on weekends and after work, I think I did pretty good. Anyways, there's not much left to do this year because it's already frozen in the morning and it only thaws out in the afternoon. So I can't really do nothing. I could order those logs, those 240 logs for the posts and start putting them in the ground now. I suppose I could, and I might be able to get 30 or 40 done before the ground freezes. But to be honest, I'm kind of burnt out. And I would have 220 logs sitting on the ground slowly rotting before I would be able to get to them in the springtime. So might as well just take a break, do it in the springtime. So the fence now is gonna basically run 6 feet away from the tree line all the way around. I want that 6 feet away so I can run the tractor here. I want to be able to run the tractor with that bush cutter between the field and between the fence and the tree line, so I can keep the trees from coming back in and just cut them down as I go. And it'd be nice to walk to that pit without having to go in between the fence and whatnot. So that'll come around, and it's starting to rain here again. It's so wet here, it's crazy. And yeah. Then in the springtime, I'm gonna start that fence, and then I'm gonna paint the house. And I'm gonna start putting a new porch on the front of the house too. And the fence line will come along here. So there'll still be room between the fence and the side of the barn. The fence line will be about here. And then you've got, yeah. So I actually seen a really redneck way of strapping a barn down. One last point here. I read it in Texas because they have lots of really high wind down there. I didn't know that, but they do. And so I got that post hole digger and I dug down like 5 feet straight down into the ground. Then I put a chain. I got 8 feet of chain, and I threw the chain down there with 1.5 feet sticking out of the ground. And at the bottom is like 2 bags of concrete. So there's like probably close to like 3.5 feet of chain curled up at the bottom like that, and I just threw concrete down on it and then put the rest up. And then you take these bolts and you spank them right onto there. So that prevents the house from what's called wind liftoff. Right? And so you get these long bolts, and behind here, in here, is those big 4x4s. And they're sitting on concrete sonotubes under the ground. So the sonotube concrete, then the post sits on it, basically like that. But that's got boards covering it up so you can't see. So what you're worried about is called liftoff. So there's 2 things that can happen. If really high wind comes rushing in here, fills this up and wants to go out, and it can't. So 2 things are going to happen. One, it's going to pull your roof pull the OSB right off the girts, and then your roof is bye-bye. Or, if you're really unlucky, your OSB won't give, and the whole thing lifts up out of the ground. And then that's sayonara, barn. So these here, I put on the 4 outsides. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 back there. You take these and you just screw them in. So in order to have this lift up, it's got to be able to yank these out of the ground. Which, let me tell you, ain't gonna fucking happen. So I thought that was fucking genius when I heard that. Because there's no way you can pull those out of the ground. Can't happen. And I haven't put them on yet because I wanted the ground to settle and compact it in. So that helps with lift off. It's kind of like not kind of like a plane, and the whole building just kind of whoosh. So you don't come out and this whole fucking barn is sitting upside down. I thought that was genius, so I did that because I have a post hole digger, and why the hell not? Yeah, and that's about it. My battery's gonna die, so talk to you later. Bye bye.